this, so this is the, on the right hand side here is the escape room that we're going to be using. So we're going to work in groups in the breakout rooms. One person will open the escape room, which has been created in OneNote, and they will share their screen for the rest of the group. There are 4 levels to work through in the escape room, and there is a final level called leave, what's it called again? Leave the breakout room. So that's the last level of the escape room. The escape room is, sorry, it's a PowerPoint that is not based on Language Centre website. It's based on the TELSIG website. You've got 20 minutes to do it, and as you see, the first screenshot is the first page of the escape room. If you are finished before the 20 minutes, in this TELSIG breakout notes, there are, after you've completed the breakout, there are questions at the bottom there for you to discuss in your groups if you have already broken out of the escape room. The link to the escape room should be in the chat. Deanne, can you confirm that it's there?
Yes, I just reposted it.
Great. So has anybody got any questions before we put you into breakout rooms to try the escape room? No? Okay, so do you want to put everybody into breakout rooms, please, Phil?
Yeah, I'm just creating the breakout rooms now. So we'll get, we've got a neat division of 10 rooms.
Oh, you've got a question, sorry.
Will someone be like on hand if we get like lost?
Yeah.
Really lost.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be on hand if you get lost. You can also put questions into the chat room, the chat box if you've got questions as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So there will be someone staying in the main room at all times. So if there isn't someone in your room that can answer your questions, then please just pop out and to the main room. Okay.
Yeah, rely on the rest of the team.
I think we're all back now, Susan. So yeah.
Everyone's back.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully most of you got out of the escape room. I'll just start sharing my screen again. And I'll just go through the research that supports games-based activities, and then a few pointers about how to build an escape room. And then if you've got any questions, I'll answer those at the end. Deanne's keeping an eye on the chat for questions. So research shows that game-based learning is effective at improving learning outcomes for courses, and that it's also a good way to establish groups. Hopefully you found that when you were in the escape room, and building communities of practice. Also, game-based learning has shown that it motivates people by immersing them in the game environment, which is one of the things that's useful for second language speakers, is that being immersed in the game means that the people don't start to concentrate on what mistakes they're making in their language. The game makes them speak without being intimidated by the speaking in a second language. Sorry. So the things to think about for building an escape room, you need to use software that is password protected. So as you can see, OneNote's got that facility. Google Forms is another way you can do it. It's got section locks in it. Our VLE is Blackboard at university, and we can lock sections in Blackboard, so you can use that. Canva is also a platform that you can use for escape rooms. I haven't used it myself, but I know that a lot of the online escape rooms are in Canva. My tip would be to use what you're familiar with, because that's the easiest thing for you to do. You can, as you can see, you can host this virtually, but you can also host it virtually, but in a room together. The students can be face-to-face on laptops at the same time. I've done both ways, so it does work face-to-face or online. When you're starting to think about building an escape room, I find it's easiest to start with the learning outcomes that you want to achieve, and develop a storyline to engage participants in the story. There's lots of tools online that you can use to make the puzzles and codes, like the jigsaw that I had. I'll share resources at the end. You can make pictures for your escape room on PowerPoint and export them as JPEGs or PNG files into well, OneNote. It's easy to import them that way. Use the theory of flow means that you start the game easy to involve everybody in the game, and then make it incrementally more difficult so that the students still feel like they're being challenged as they go along the game. So the tasks should get more difficult as you go along. And also connected to that, there should be 2 levels of puzzle. So you saw that when you opened the lock, then you got another clue. That's to prevent students just going to the end, getting the last clue and finishing easier. So making 2 levels makes them have to do each section of the escape room. The other things to consider are that the challenges can be an assessment for learning as well as of learning, because the students are in a group. They can supplement each other's learning by some might be able to do things and others might not. Try and make challenges real world skills. So for example, in the escape room that I use in the department is to see if students are familiar with the induction material that we give them online. So in the escape room, you had to find an email address, but they have to find an email address for their tutor. Then they have to email the tutor in the escape room and ask the tutor for the next clue. So, and I also specify that it's got to be a polite email, so that students have got know how to write a nice email to their tutors. The other things that I do are get students to open assessments and play the recording in the assessment, so I know they can do that before the course starts. And another thing that that I do in the escape room that we've got is that all the secondary clues go together and make a reference, and they've got to get that in the correct format with the full stops and the brackets and things. So making it real world makes it more authentic for the students. Adding a reflection task at the end builds metacognition and helps the transfer of the skills from the task. And the last thing I would say is it does take a while to make the escape room, but you can reuse it as many times. You know, the escape room that we've got has been used for the last 2 years with only minor changes to it. So you do have to invest a lot of time up front, but after that, it's just easy to roll over. Feedback from tutors, just a couple of things, screenshots I've got from tutors saying that the students enjoyed it and that it helped students to speak in their breakout rooms. And those are my references. And as you saw when you were doing the task, the extra resources are in the Padlet. So there was positives and negatives about the escape room, but to the right-hand side, there are resources in that Padlet that you can have a look at to help you to build an escape room. And any questions?
So one question was put forward by Gavin Mensah-Coker. I'm sorry if I mispronounce names. He says, could you touch on how learners with specific learning differences, such as ADHD, dyslexia, etc., have found escape rooms? How do neurodiverse learners cope with the stress of multiple information? I don't know if this is something you have looked into, Susan, or not, but do you have any thoughts on this?
I think it does help with learning differences because the tasks are not in one format or another. They're different kinds of formats. And also there's scaffolding within the group for things that one student might find difficult, another can scaffold them. So I do think in terms of the assessments that the QAA are keen for us to embrace, that this kind of thing, an escape room, confirms to those kind of things that they're asking for, because it's not just one skill that's needed for the escape room.
Okay. Another question is, can this work well both in asynchronous and synchronous sessions? Have you tried it in both?
I've only tried it synchronously because of the group aspect. So we always use it with groups of students. So I'm not sure how it would, if you did it asynchronously, it would be each individual student. I suppose it would work like that as well, yeah.
Okay. Okay. There's been a few other things posted by others that are not questions per se. Lillian Joy has posted a link to an unpublished article about students creating escape rooms, and also to a conference, online conference, that is a day of escape room thinking. And she was encouraging you to submit a proposal for this at the conference. There's also some hints about Zerta, apparently can also be used for password protected escape room development.
Okay.
And then there's just some other ideas, such as that it can be used as a good icebreaker event for online and remote students. So, That is
Stan,
all
have
the
we-
questions that are there so far. Sorry, Phil, was that
Okay.
you?
No, that's okay. I was just saying thanks. So that if we've reached the end of the chat questions, I'll stop the recording now if anyone does want to ask any questions without being recorded. So.